We are live. I don't know if there's anybody out there or not. Uh, just wanted to touch base with everybody, try to get some kind of a perspective because it's just a lot of stuff going on. And it's, kind of hard to get any kind of a real deal perspective on some of this. But, number one, I think our country is unraveling, it seems like. There's a lot of things going on. Everybody knows that. There's weather, there's really weird weather. I mean, all these tornadoes that are coming out of nowhere, and all this wind and water and fire and everything else. Real kind of a pestilence upon this country. Then you've got all the social issues, everything else. Hey, there they are. Doing good, Marsfield, so far. Just taking care of business over here and definitely keeping busy. But, wanted to touch base with you guys. There's a Sparky too. Yes, long-time friends. Man, I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are hanging in there. Seems like you are. It's there's a lot of stuff, of course, going on. And a lot of weird stuff. I mean, obviously you've got the mental health crisis and you've got all these really bizarre scenarios going on. And I'm just wondering, personally, I'm wondering if COVID might have, or some kind of one of these viruses, did it change the brain structure of people? I mean, was there some kind of like changes in the chromosomes or the DNA or some kind of molecular changes? Who the hell knows, right? But there's a lot of weird, strange stuff. I mean, just crazy stuff, especially with law enforcement and, all the shootings, all the killings, all of that. I mean, I did time with this guy named Scott Thompson. I was just, yeah, you're right, Pawn. Surprise. Yeah, you're right. But I just did time. I did the last 2 years of my sentence over at USP Allenwood with this guy named Scott Thompson. He was, my buddy over there. We played handball. We worked on his case. He had a life sentence for bank robbery because, he said he had a gun, and one of the bank tellers said she thought she saw like a handle on the gun or something. Anyway, they gave him life. We fought tooth and nail for well over a year and a half to get that life sentence off him. And finally we did. He got out. He went to his brother's house down in Tustin in Orange County, California. And, I got a call from his brother like a week ago. I didn't even notice. I went and checked my phone log because, I'm not real good at keeping up with things like that. I go and check my phone log. I see his brother called, Jeff. So I called Jeff back. I say, what's going on, Jeff? Because, I never did talk to him when he got out. I never did talk to Scott because he was on supervised release, and so was I at the time. I've since been released from supervised release. Yeah, you got that right. Freedom is priceless. So anyway, to make a long story short, his brother says, Scott's dead. And I'm thinking, man, he must have, maybe he had a heart attack or something. Maybe he got in a car accident. Maybe, something else happened. I don't know. Come to find out, he was shot in the head by the cops. Jeff was like, yeah, they shot him in the head and killed him a couple weeks ago. I'm like, wow. And when I went to look at it, when I went to investigate it, sure enough, there he was. But what Scott had done was, Scott had some serious mental issues going on, real serious. He was a megalomaniac. He thought that he had millions of dollars in the bank. He thought his grandfather had left him very wealthy. Thought he had all these investments, and he didn't have anything. Um, so he went in the bank with this box in his hand and told him it was a bomb in there, and he won the money. And when he went to go out the door, they shot him in the head. About 2 minutes after they got the call, they were surrounding the place, helicopters in the sky. I mean, I'm like, how do you do that in 2 minutes? How do you come across with all that backup and stuff? They must have been surveilling him. You know, yeah. I mean, it did affect me a little bit, Sparky, but I was, I mean, if you walk into a bank with a white box in your hand and you tell them it's a bomb, you might get shot in the head. But I say all that to say, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on, and I think the police are a little bit trigger happy, or a lot trigger happy, and the world itself, it's either the start of World War III, or it's like a precursor. It's like pre-World War III or something that's going down, because I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think the Israelis are going to not invade Rafah or assault Rafah. They're definitely going to do that. They're definitely going to do that. And they're probably going to take over large portions of Gaza, which now is nothing but rubble anyway, especially in the north. So, yeah, I mean, is that going to tamp down those flames and those hostilities? I don't think so. I think it's going to ramp them up. But in any event, yeah, people are losing everything and they don't care. They're like, fuck it, we're going to throw caution to the wind, and we're just going to, I mean, you got people that are out there just really doing whack stuff, bizarre stuff. Wow. Oh, you mentioned getting burned up. Yeah. I heard another story about a guy out here, this dude that I guess he's a homeless dude. His nickname is Booger, but they were down camping out somewhere, had a bonfire. He passed out on some kind of dope and fell into the fire, and it just, I guess it isn't funny. I mean, it cooked his legs or burned his legs and feet really bad. So I guess they had to amputate or something. I mean, it's just bizarro, a bizarro world we live in right now. So we have to be careful. We have to be very cautious. We have to be aware of what's going on here, because there's a lot going on. And there's a lot more that's going to be going on here in the very near future, in my view. There's a lot more that's going to be going on. So, need to kind of protect ourselves, our family. We got to be cautious, because there's just a lot of things going on, and I'm even reluctant to get into a car anymore to drive anywhere, because all of these incidents where you've got police officer shootings, 95% of them happen in a traffic stop. It's a traffic stop. And, they're shooting people up right and left. I mean, and you do have people that are shooting back, or even, taking, the advantage as far as, setting the police up for ambushes, stuff like that. You've got you've got a real low level kind of a civil war, I think, that's already started here. And, what happens if you have both a civil war and a world war going at the same time? I mean, that's that's weird. That's like, yeah. Got a feeling that gas prices are going to continue to rise. They're going to go through the roof. They're already through the roof out here, pretty much. We're over $6 a gallon. Yeah, it's just, the economy's, I don't think it's going to recover very much. I think it's going to take a big dive pretty soon, actually. Trump coming in, Trump's likely to be the next president of the United States. Yeah, I heard about that, Sparky. Three U.S. Marshals dead. 3 U.S. Marshals dead. 4 local cops wounded. 5 actually, but 1 I think is just pretty minor. Yeah, 3 U.S. Marshals are dead. Task force, fugitive task force. But, that's what they do. They put these task forces together, and then they surveil you, especially when, you've served a lot of time in prison, particular crimes such as bank robbery. They think you're a serial bank robber. So I'm pretty sure that I had them on me for quite a while, surveilling me. And they had to have been bored out of their minds. If they were waiting for something to happen or for me to do anything, they were going to have a long wait and I mean, it was like I would catch them, right? I kind of keep my guard up with like counter surveillance if it's just kind of a sixth sense or something. But one time I was standing outside, we live in an RV, so it was parked on the side of the street, and this guy walks up and he's wearing these shorts, they're brand new t-shirt, and his legs are all wide, his arms are all wide. I mean, he looks just like FBI or some kind of, investigator or something, right? He walks up. I'm outside. I'm with the dog over in the corner by the fence, and I'm about 10 feet away from the RV, but I'm in a blind spot. He comes walking up, and he's looking in the windows, trying to look in the windows of the RV, and I'm just watching him. I'm just watching him trying to look through and stuff, and then I kind of took a step forward and said, "What's up, man?" And he jerked like, "Whoa, oh, I didn't even see you standing there. Oh, geez, beautiful night, isn't it?" And just kind of waved and took off. But I followed another guy all the way back to his car, which was parked way down in another parking lot. He came around, went down the other side of the sidewalk, and then he came back around again. And I'm like, what's this guy up to? What's he doing? So when he took off again down the sidewalk, I followed him, and he went all the way down. He got in his car, and I just walked up behind his car and took a photo of his license plate and, looked at him watching me through the rear view and the side view mirror. But he was shitting his pants because, he didn't know what was going on. Hey, this guy I'm supposed to be surveilling he's surveilling me. He's watching me. It's probably what he was saying to his supervisors or whoever. But yeah, I mean, they put task force on people that are getting out of prison, particular people that they got these so-called algorithms that are supposed to tell them, oh, this guy's this or this guy's that, or, he's likely to do this or likely to do that. Maybe sometimes they're right, but maybe sometimes they're wrong as well. In this case, they were dead wrong. But anyway, I'm going to get some stuff going. I'm going to be out there pretty soon in the public. I'm going to videotape these, whatever you want to call them, presentations. It's kind of a campaign-related thing, but I just want to get out there and get in some public venues and, make some statements, make some comments, bring some new information maybe, or at least a decent, reasonable perspective to the scene. And, a lot of people talk about what the problems are. Well, we know what they are, right? What about solutions? How do you solve this stuff? And a lot of it is, leave people alone if they're not doing anything to harm anybody else, or, they're not doing anything serious. Why smash them into the ground? I watched that video where they smashed that old veteran dude into the ground head first, and they broke his neck and paralyzed him. And he kept telling them, can't feel my legs, can't feel my legs. They took him to a hospital, but they didn't even do the right kind of procedures to move this guy. They never braced up his neck or his back or anything. And they took him to this hospital, and the nurses and everybody. But I've had that happen numerous times. When I was in prison and I would mutilate myself, and have to go to the hospital for something or another, which happened on a regular basis because that's how I protested my confinement. But yeah, whenever that would happen, a lot of times you ran into these doctors and nurses that just hated to have a prisoner patient, or I don't know if it was just that they hated prisoners. Maybe they just hated all patients, or maybe they just hated any patients that were brought in by guards or police or whatever. Maybe it was like a signal that they could just, berate them or abuse them, or, not give them the kind of treatment that they would give somebody else. But I think there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of vile and vicious haters out here in this world. I mean, they're all over the place. And a lot of them are in these professions. A lot of them are in government. A lot of them are in law enforcement. And a lot of them are, I'm not really afraid of the occasional cuckoo that goes out and does something bizarre, takes his clothes off and runs down the middle of the highway or something, or protesters stopping traffic. I'm not really concerned that much about them. More concerned with the reaction of the police and authorities when, with this overreaction, this overkill, this over-sentencing, this over-control freak mentality that is all permeated throughout our system. And, now you're seeing it like multiple events per day are coming to light because of the videos, because of, people getting out there. And, I like these First Amendment audits. Don't know how many of you guys watch those, but there's some really good auditors out there that, and I believe in that. I think, yeah, First Amendment audit, it makes sense, right? You want to try to keep public officials. I don't believe in berating them or being sarcastic, like, hey, are you a public servant? Yes, I am, sir. All right, go get me a glass of water then. I don't think that's cool, that kind of shit. But yeah, to keep them, on the straight and narrow about filming and all that stuff. Yeah, it's always been that way. You're right. It's social media and the advent of body cameras and cell phones, video, this is what's brought it to the forefront. Remember when I was a teenager in Syracuse, New York, I just came out of a concert, Aerosmith concert. We were walking down the sidewalk and we couldn't get in to the parking garage because it was closed. We didn't know it closed that early or that late. And so, we couldn't get in. And so we had to walk down the street, the sidewalk. And there was this dude that was he had like, I guess, a drink in a bag. And he had it in his hand, and he was standing in a doorway, back in the shadows a little bit. Just some old dude, just some street dude, right? Homeless dude. And the cops pulled right up there. I mean, 2 cars. And they jumped out. And I mean, they just beat this guy. They just smashed this guy. I mean, they wailed on him, threw him in the backseat of the car and just took off. And, that was one of my first experiences. But I saw it continuously. And then at some point, there were instances where, that same kind of thing happened with me. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of abuse. But again, anytime you give human beings authority over other human beings, some point in time, in some way, they're going to abuse that kind of authority. We're just not set up for that kind of a thing. And we think the law is going to circumvent or control everything, put the controls in place. No, nobody cares about these laws anymore, not really. And look at this, Oakland crime up 18%, right? Oakland crime up 18%. Murders, I guess, violent crimes, rapes, I guess certain other stuff, like probably drug dealing and stuff is probably up. But yeah, I mean, what do you do? What is there? And, the people that I know that are homeless or are considered to be homeless, I mean, they don't consider themselves to be homeless necessarily. Like, I'm not homeless. I got a home right here. I'm not homeless. But there's a lot of people that are considered homeless, but that we know. But they work. Most of them, they do something. They go out and they do like landscaping or some kind of labor with construction, or they have jobs. They go and they do stuff. And, they're not your so-called, quote, criminals, close quote, like everybody's trying to tell us they are. It's not, just doesn't fit the script. So yeah, media, social media, government, there's a lot of, there's changes that need to be made, big changes. We, somehow people of the United States are going to have to make these changes happen, because it looks like things are unraveling at a very high rate of speed to me. Looks like everything's kind of just coming unwound, and people are coming unwound, and the world is a dangerous place anyway, and it's not easy being human in any event. I don't care what you got going on, what color your skin is, what kind of money you got or don't have, what your status is, nationality or otherwise. Human life is tough. It's hard. It's not anything, grand or beautiful. It's, there's moments that are, of course, but, it is a miracle in a way, but it's still tough. You still have pain, suffering, and death. old age and death. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The collapse of civilization, if you want to call it that. Yeah, yeah. Marsfield. Yeah, yeah. I know guys. You know, we keep in touch with a fella that's at Terminal Island, and you know they don't even want to. He doesn't even want to go to a halfway house or anything like that. He's eligible, but he doesn't want to go. I mean, he'll be eligible in a few months, but he doesn't even want to go. Doesn't even want to go. Um, yeah, I mean, suicide watch is no fun. I've been on suicide watch. I don't know how many times, and it's never been any fun, really. I mean, you can do it, of course. If you have to, you have to. But basically, you're pretty much wearing either a green suicide smock or a gown of some kind, or you might have, you know, depending on who the psychs are, they might let you wear a pair of pants and a shirt. But I was usually on ambulatory restraints while on suicide watch. So I'd be in shackles and handcuffs, belly chain, a black box, all of that, while in the cell, while in the cell. And you have to sleep like that. You have to shit like that. You have to walk around like that. And, you know, it gets pretty tiresome. And a couple times, you know, I'd break the cuffs off because, you know, you get in that little groove. You know, the handcuffs have those two separate pieces where the rivet goes between and hits that one single piece. You just get these two in between a piece of metal, like on the edge of the bunk or even at the bars where they have that horizontal piece, and slide it right up on there and just up and down until the rivet breaks. And then, you know, but then you gotta deal with the team and all that and being chained down. But I figured, hey, if they're gonna keep me in chains like this, I might as well be chained down. But yeah, there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of this really kind of rabid, egotistical bullshit that's going on. There's, you know, a lot of people who believe that they're better than everybody else or anybody else. Yeah, I mean, and there's just a lot of crazy people too. Yeah, I know, man. I know, Sparky. I know, man. I feel for you. It's, it's like, you got to be strong-minded. You just got to be like, I say strong-minded, but I mean, like, you got to be able to put your brain sort of into neutral, like, where it's not really affecting you emotionally or internally, where you're strong enough within yourself that, yeah, you can make sacrifices. Yeah, you can go through hardships. You can deal with things. Uh, and some of those things are not pretty. Some of those things are things that people would say, oh my God, how could you do that? How could you, it's like, I was telling my wife the other day, I don't know if I should have even told her, but we were walking down the sidewalk one day to go to chow. Uh, I think it was at USP Allenwood. We were walking down to go to the chow hall, and there was this bat that was crawling across the sidewalk, and one of its wings was completely ripped off, right? And it was opening its mouth, and it was making this little screeching noise, and it was just, it was just really in this terrible pain. I just got my dogs going. It was in this terrible pain. And so I took one of those ashtray, they used to have the outside ashtrays and the heavy lids, like metal lids, and I just, I took good aim and I just smashed his head, and that was the end. Picked him up, put him in the trash can. The guys are like, "Oh my God, you're cruel, man." Well, no, man, that was really not cruel at all. That was really compassionate, I thought, because what was the alternative? You're gonna let that little thing just crawl all over the place with one wing ripped? I mean, ripped off, not cut off, not sawed off, not cleanly bit off, but ripped off. And where was he gonna go? What was he gonna do? He was gone. So it was better to put him out of his misery rather than let him suffer. But yeah, anyway, I'm at 31:08 here, so a little bit over my time, and appreciate you guys for showing up, and I hope to have some more interesting comments and videos coming up here in the very near future. We're reconstructing everything, on the channel. We're involved in a lot of different projects, and I'm just saying that I'm here, and I'm here for you, and I just can't make it all the time, but I'm hoping that we can get back on that same track where I can, and I'm thinking that's going to happen. That's what I'm trying to make happen. So appreciate you guys, love you guys, hang strong, be tough, and just be aware. Just keep your awareness up. Make sure you meditate every day if you can. At least a little bit of clarity, clearance, centering, whatever you want to call it, recalibration. Just, find out who you are from the inside out, and then be that man, be that person, be that one. But appreciate you guys, and I'll check with you soon. Thanks for tuning in.